Hi, y'all. This is Kristen Chenoweth.
Hi, I'm Gloria Stefan.
This is Sarah Bareilles.
Hi, I'm Patty Lapone.
This is Lin-Manuel Miranda. You're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Hello, I'm Jesse McAnally.
And I'm Andrew DeWolf.
And I'm Liz Eston.
And welcome to Cheese with Musicals, a podcast where I try to get Liz and Andrew to musical theater like.
Are you drunk?
No, just, are you drunk? Jess, are you drunk?
I think he went crazy.
I think
We're going to have to put him in the loony bin.
Oh, the loony. Oh,
He's
yeah.
going to have to go to the
Damn
cookie jar.
Actually,
cookie
I think
jar.
that we all might be a part of the cookie jar, so we're going to have to put ourselves in groups. Jess, you're in group 1, and Liz, you're in group B.
You mean group A?
Nope.
Oh, group B. Okay. Well, am I crazy or am I sane? What are you?
Now you got to fight it out to figure out.
Oh, I have to figure out my own mental sanity?
Yeah, that's the premise.
Great.
All right. Just everyone real quick. A quick test. Ooh.
Can't whistle.
I guess not anyone can whistle.
Most people
I guess
can whistle.
we've already disproven it. All right, episode's over, guys. We're out of here.
Because I can't whistle.
Sondheim was wrong.
Myth busted.
Boom.
Steven Sondheim never met me.
In case you hadn't picked up what we're throwing down, and God willing, why would you have? This week, we are talking about Stephen Sondheim's infamous flop, Anyone Can Whistle. Cue the music.
Anyone can whistle, that's what they say, easy. Anyone can whistle, any old day, easy. It's all so simple, relax, let go, let fly, so someone tell me why can't I?
Anyone Can Whistle is a musical written and directed by Arthur Lawrence with music and lyrics by Stephen Sondheim. Following a tryout period in Philadelphia, Anyone Can Whistle opened at the Majestic Theater on Broadway on April 4th, 1964, and closed after 9 performances! It was the Broadway debut of Angela Lansbury and was lambasted by critics and was overall thought of as kind of a failure commercially, critically, and emotionally, but grew a cult following in the following years. The plot of Anyone Can Whistle is a fanciful story about a small, economically depressed American town whose venial mayoris gets the bright idea of arranging a fake miracle to attract tourists. The tourists arrive, but they become intermixed with the inmates of the local cookie jar, a rest home for nonconformists. Farcical complications ensue. What a wild show this is.
You could say that again.
Yeah.
What a wild show this is.
As a person from Philly, this makes sense that this bombed. It started out in the wrong place.
That is actually, in my Sondheim research, Sondheim said that is part of why it failed, because if you're going to do a show that is going to critique its audience to its face, you don't play it in Philadelphia.
No. No. If a Philly Four Scenes makes it far enough in a given sport, you're afraid of your car being flipped no matter the result.
Okay, so if you can flash back to, I believe, 2 Sondheim shows ago, to the Frogs. This reminds me so much of the Frogs. Roadshow, while I did enjoy it, did not give me the Sondheim burr in the back of my head where I am experiencing something genius in the moment and I am enthralled. This gave me that several times, but then the plot in the book also happened, which makes it an infuriatingly brilliant experience, and I kind of love it. Andrew, you had similar struggles.
So generally I only watch a show one time, because the whole concept of this is that we give it's like our first thoughts. It's not
Ben Brantley style.
Yeah, but I hate having nothing of value to say at all. So when I watched this the first time and I couldn't figure out what the fuck happened, I had to watch it again. So this one I've watched 2 times now, and the plot just feels nonsensical to me. Like it's indecipherable. I think I can explain what happens, but I don't think I could explain why.
So this is what we crave currently in Broadway. In an original musical, it's not based on anything, like nothing at all. This is completely out of thin air kind of storytelling, and it's meant to be very farcical, very experimental is a word that Sondheim throws around quite a bit, which feels like there was something my cinematography teacher once said, and it stuck with me, and it was meant as an insult, but she said, you can't just say experimental just because you're incompetent.
Oh, no.
That's so good.
And I think about that at least once a week about how I don't use that word myself anymore. This was a horrendously, I don't want to say cursed, but cursed production. Liz, did you read anything about this? Because if so, I could spew out some facts about what happened.
I did not read too much into it because I thought you had a lot to say about it. So I want to give you a platform to speak on it.
So, when in Broadway pre-tryouts in Philadelphia, one of their leads, Henry Lasco, had a heart attack and died. A few days later, one of the dancers fell off the orchestra pit, causing a near fatal concussion of a string causing a fatal concussion of a string player. So a dancer fell onto a string player and killed them days after one of their lead actors died of a heart attack.
Jesus fucking Christ, what happened?
On top of that, the show just wasn't working. They were very ambitious, and let's contextualize ourselves a bit. 1964, the second professional musical that Sondheim is doing the music and lyrics for. The only thing he had done previously really is A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. This is a follow-up to that very broad comedic hit. He had done Saturday Night, but that never made it to Broadway, so I'm not counting that to get out of the comments. And he's just this young kid working with Arthur Lawrence and trusting everything that he is. However, as Sondheim, now with the context of many, many years later, was able to say the biggest issue is that Arthur Lawrence was writing the book and directing it, because then you don't have the creative flavor of someone else shaping and reshaping with actors. And that is where the show kind of falls apart, and it hasn't worked to this day. That being said, thankfully, Columbia Records insisted upon a recording of the whatever songs they had. It was a very short, very truncated cast album, and that is the reason why anyone really thinks about this show in the way that they do. A lot of people, especially Angela Lansbury, would go on to be immense talents and very well-known, well-regarded people, and a lot of these songs would come to play in Sondheim's feature cabarets and all that. I can see all of these things. It's never had a proper Broadway revival, but it's played encores and done a lot of regional shows. And in the 60 years since it was first performed, I don't think they've got it figured out yet, but god damn it, is it good when it's good.
I think everything that I think is really good about this show is just the music. It's the music entirely.
It's some of Sondheim's best.
It really is. There's a lot of the stuff that I really like in this as well is style of that he doesn't do that often. I feel like in his later work, which is this very upbeat kind of marchy type style, which I think is fun.
Okay, there's one song, and I know we're not talking about songs, but there's one song that ranks up there with literally his best songs he's ever written. Somewhere in a Tree, Sunday, especially those complex ones, the really difficult ones. Simple. Holy shit. Like, the minute that song started and the way it wraps up and the way that it resolutes itself, I felt transported, and I was like literally elevated out of my seat watching it, like just like, oh, this is what greatness feels like. And I don't get that often enough, sadly enough. I don't think I get it from people who aren't Sondheim very often. And when I revisit Sondheim's, it only happens on the first listen, and then I can't ever feel that feeling again. So I'm grateful to this experience. This was one I had not read into, not one I really attached to aside from the very famous Inescapable songs. The problem is we're talking about a lot of things here, but we're not talking about the plot.
All right. You want to go through the plot? I'll go through the plot. There's a town where people are poor, and there's a mayor. The mayor is wants to bring in tourists, so she sets up a scam where they do a fake miracle by having a water pump in a rock, and the rock will leak water, and that's the miracle. Near to the town, or in the town, there's also they call it a home for nonconformists, but I feel like it's pretty implied to be like an insane asylum type place.
That's where it gets complicated. I think we'd interpret it today as an insane asylum. I think, well written, they were writing it for beatniks, which is like the proto hippies.
Yeah, so the nonconformists / residents of the asylum, they are the cookie jar. They are brought by the nurse, who is, I would say, close to the main character. Probably the main character.
That's the issue that we could go into, which is
it's one of the many issues. Yes.
Yeah. That either Faye or Cora could be the main character, depending on who's the more famous actor you have there.
Yeah, it's kind of like nebulous onto who we're following. But the nurse brings all the residents of the asylum / home for nonconformists, beatniks, whatever we want to call them. She brings them all to this rock with the miracle water that drips out of it. And our first kind of like very weird thing happens, in that I guess this part of the scam is that this miracle water is supposed to be like healing you of everything. So they don't want to allow the people that are from the asylum to drink the water, because when it doesn't cure them, the miracle will be revealed to be fake, which it just feels like a really weird leap in logic to me. But I suppose I could see what they're trying to say there.
Well, that's where it leads to the eventual New York Times review with like one of the most baller opening sentences to any review of any theater, which is, there's no law against saying something in a musical, but it's unconstitutional to omit imagination and wit. In an attempt to be meaningful, anyone can whistle forgets to offer much entertainment. That's kind of the thing. It's trying to be meaningful, but...
Yeah. But basically what ends up happening is, because they don't allow the residents of the asylum to go to the water thing, they just kind of mix in with all the other people in the town, and then everyone gets confused and they're not sure who is supposed to be in the asylum and who is not anymore.
Which is a bold setup to get to Hapgood just popping in the middle of Act 1.
Yeah, so then the one of the other characters just kind of shows up, and it's just this guy who we really have very little context as to who the fuck he is. Just kind of shows up and starts sorting people into groups. They think that he works for the asylum or something like that. So then he just goes into town and starts sorting people into group A and group 2 or something like that. So the two groups, it's not groups of whether they belong in the asylum or not. It's just two arbitrary groups. We don't even know what he's sorting by or anything of that nature. He's just sorting.
He's sorting
them,
by logic, according to him, and the song, but he's not sorting by shit. So
yeah, I feel like the idea is that he was supposed to be part of the asylum or something. I don't know.
He's a crazy person.
Yeah.
In the context of the
so
show,
like that's the idea though. Like he's sorting them in like an insane way
into Group A and Group 1. Which means that, and no one knows whether they're sorted into the quote-unquote crazy people, into the normal people, which causes an overall rift between them. So he has sown dissent through basically putting them into groups.
Yeah, and this is where it just kind of everything gets fucking murky and weird as fuck for me. So like, Hapgood and the nurse like fall in love or something.
Yeah. But she can only be confident when French. When
she pretends to be a French woman, she's confident.
Yeah, she shows up as a French woman, French woman, and she can only be confident when she is French. And she thinks that Hapgood can teach her how to be confident when she isn't French.
And the overall metaphor for that is learning how to whistle.
And that's why the show is called Anyone Can Whistle.
Because if you can't be a French woman, you should learn how to whistle.
The most relatable thing in the world is, you know what? I can't be confident if I'm not French and wearing a wig. Like, I feel that.
Too many shows recently about characters that aren't confident without wigs.
Yeah. Broadway really needs people that need gain confidence with just wigs.
Yeah, what a wild time. And then that's only Act 1 and Act 2, and this is one of the rare 3-act musicals.
Why?
Which is a choice. And then here's the thing, Andrew, I don't even know what happens in Act 3. I just experience it, and it's...
Well, half of it's like a dance, like a ballet.
Yeah.
So it's just, it becomes so vague and strange that it's up for interpretation. It's just whatever. Somehow things go back to normal somewhat. And then, I guess at the end, there's a new miracle somewhere else, and
everyone picks up and goes.
Nurse, the new nurse goes over there, and to disprove that one. But like, it's wild.
And
it's really wild.
This feels like it should be based on a book, right? Or some kind of weird New York Times article. But no, you could have written anything. Now,
it's just the real issue is it's so hard to fucking follow because there's like the character like motivations don't matter in a sense. Like the nurse isn't motivated by anything. There's like the mayor is like sort of the villain, but like it doesn't really mount to anything. It's so fucking weird. Like there's just so much weirdness in this, and just even the premise alone is just like, oh well, there's just a town where there's an like asylum, and that like the town is poor, but the asylum is like not, and it's I don't even know.
And the mayor's obsessed with people liking her, and that's her only... Like, she has a clear goal, which is the reason why it gets murky who the main character is, because we do a lot of work to set up the mayor, Cora Louver Cooper, or something like that.
I'm pretty sure.
We know her goals, and we get why she's doing what she's doing. No, they aren't ethical. No, they are very murky, but I get why she's doing it. And then we introduce Faye, who has... Faye reminds me of like Marta from Knives Out, where they're like this other being there that has the weirdest fatal flaw, which is, you know, I gotta be French if I have confidence. I gotta have this wig on and pretend.
But it's like that's not even like her initial motivation though. Her initial motivation was like, I want to disprove this miracle that's happening or something like that.
Yeah.
But like that doesn't even like come into play later on. It's just like it's the catalyst and that's it.
I mean, it kind
so
of
fucking
does.
Bizarre.
It kind of does because at the end she's like, I have to disprove this miracle, and Dr. Hapgood is like, let's just run away together. This is fucking nuts. It's much easier. And he's like, no, I must do my duty as a person or something. and then they sing a sad song, and then she goes to disprove the miracle, which I don't know if it works or not, but I don't remember. This thing is nuts.
Liz, I do have a very specific question for you
Yes.
regarding how this uses mental illness not to show characters with mental illness, but as a symbol for something greater, like mental illness as a symbol rather than human beings.
Yeah, I don't. There's a lot of things like this in the world. There's a lot of things set in like mental hospitals like that exists in media. In the case of this, they kind of play it for laughs completely in a way. Like they don't.
Well, I think isn't the idea that like they get mixed together and you can't, no one can tell them apart because really there's not that much difference.
Yeah, there's not. Also,
and then there's like a gag that's like, oh, the audience is actually the ones who's crazy.
Yeah. Haha, audience are nuts. Well, also the people that are being treated at this beatnik building or whatever the fuck it is, are dressed exactly the same as the townspeople, which is why everyone is confused. And it's just a strange little thing, and I wish it was based on something because then the metaphor might be clearer. But I don't know what anyone is going for in this because it could be like we're all a little crazy, or we should mistreat mentally ill people, or we should be better people. Like I don't know what the narrative wants.
The other strange thing to me that like it's like a plot element, but it doesn't matter as well, is that the town is like poor.
Yeah.
Like that's brought up in like the opening number, and then it just doesn't have any real relevance to the plot.
The town is poor, and the mental hospital, known as the Cookie Jar, is the only place that makes the money somehow.
Yeah, but like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So like, what is that? Because it's not that it doesn't make sense. Like I understand what it is. I just don't understand why.
Yeah.
Why it is.
Yeah, the why
what are we gaining from knowing this?
The why of it all is where a lot of this show loses me. It's like, why is...
I think a lot of this plot is the why. The issue is the why.
The issue is the motivations. Yeah.
I can explain the plot.
Yeah.
And like, it sort of makes sense what happens, but like, why does it happen?
I can tell you what Faye Apple does in the narrative, but I can't tell you why she makes any of these decisions. Like, why does she run away and become French? How?
I have a question for you guys, because this was off-lobbed criticism of this show thrown by critics, and I was wondering if you felt this. They thought that this show felt up its own ass, high and mighty, and pretentious. Sondheim specifically said that he and Arthur had written a piece as if they were the two smartest kids in the class, in the back row, of course, wryly making fun of the teacher as well as the fellow students, demonstrating how far ahead of the established wisdom we were. Do we agree that is it? Is this show too far up its ass to actually be entertaining?
That's a maybe.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see the original version, so I don't know how they staged it or what got changed down the line. And I could see how goofing on the audience and like having this sort of meta elements to the show, and especially having something where it's so fucking weird and like, as you said, experimental, could definitely feel like oh, I'm so smart, look at what we did. We did this when we should have done this. But it's just like, yeah, but you really should have done that.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I see the argument, but I also see like this show is so stupid and nonsensical that I can't see it as pretentious. Like, it's just like a bunch of shit happening. Like over and over, and they don't tell you why anyone's doing anything. Like, why is the mayor kind of evil and kind of not? I don't
know. Sondheim
the mayor's the only one that has some motivation.
Yeah, the mayor has some motivation. She has financial motivation, but then she later says, the doctor's taking too much attention from me. I must marry him.
No, she just likes... like, I don't think it's the money thing. She wants people to like her, and she thinks that getting the town more money will get people to like her.
Which is weird.
So that's why she's upset when someone else is liked more than her.
That's true. Everyone else is a little lost.
So I have a hard time contextualizing this into 1964, into a brand new composer. Like, I can't imagine who would be a new composer of this day. Michael R. Jackson coming up with his follow-up to A Strange Loop and being the absurdist kind of show that, honestly, with him specifically, I would actually expect that. I'm trying to think of any other, but I trying to contextualize it instead of within the pantheon of Stephen Sondheim, the most prolific composer, writer of the 20th century, and just trying to say it as like another piece of theater. Sondheim, 30 years distance, was quoted saying this during an AIDS benefit performance of the show, saying, "It's a show that is better on records than it is on stage because the issues it satirizes are no longer relevant. Its primary subject was nonconformity. 4 years later, it was 1968 and everybody nonconformed. And being not a nonconformist was, in its own way, conformity." So it was at the wrong time, but was it too early, too late? Like, if it came out today with these same messages of conforming and being along with cookie cutter human beings, would that be effective today?
Maybe there's like a change in the culture, and this would fit in better back in the 60s. Because like you were mentioning beatniks, right? That's not a fucking thing.
Yeah.
Now there's no cultural
There's no like
equivalent
beatnik
to that.
TikTok that's going on right now, which might happen in like 5 years, but I can't predict TikTok. So
But
beatniks as a cultural movement is gone, and there's no replacement.
Yeah.
Like there's no current version of beatniks. There's nothing like that. So
I mean, you can see the development from the beatnik movement to the hippie movement, where things like hair and all that, and you know, the things that came alongside with the Vietnam War and like burning your
but that's the thing though.
draft card.
They went to the hippie movement, but then after the hippie movement, they didn't go anywhere. It's just they just are gone.
Well, then that became the hipster movement. I still think hippies in the cultural sense exist. Maybe not in the actual political sense.
Hippies became what, like yuppies, and now they're like
hippies
corporate.
became yuppies, who then became hipsters.
It became commodified, but I guess hipsters still exist. Like hipsters are never going away.
Yeah, I mean, not to the
Hipster is
degree
like
it
a
was years
term,
ago,
though.
but yeah.
Hipster is like a term, and I don't think it really means anything anymore. Because now it just means like when someone says hipster, it's like I like something that's like small, like I like an indie movie or something, and then they're like, oh, you're a hipster, or more specifically, a contrarian in a sense is like, oh, you don't like popular thing, you're a hipster.
Or
I don't know if hipster is like a type of person anymore, though.
It's just like the idea that like your favorite band is some indie band that only plays in Brooklyn 3 nights per year or some shit. Like that's a
but
hipster.
do those people like? Would they identify themselves as hipsters?
No, because
would other people identify them as hipsters?
I think other
like,
people
as a
identify them because now hipsters too mainstream for hipsters, presumably.
Well, they would say it derogatorily. I
Yeah.
don't think they say it as like they're part of that movement.
Also, Jess, you're
I
actually
don't know.
kind of right about Michael R. Jackson. His newest project is the Book of the Teeth musical.
It's weird, but I think I prefer a bold take like that, considering him. Can I read one of the most savage reviews in history in our preview segment today? It is one of those off-quoted ones written by Howard Tobin in 1964.
Sure.
So, the opening statement which I read earlier, there's no law saying something in a musical, saying something in a musical, but it's unconstitutional to omit imagination and wit. An attempt to be meaningful, anyone can whistle, forgets to offer much entertainment. Mr. Lawrence's book lacks the fantasy that would make the idea work, but his staging has not improved matters. Mr. Sondheim has written several passing songs, but not enough of them to give the musical wings. Not even a remarkable dancing ensemble, which exudes Herbert Ross's amusing, dazzling patterns, can right the balance of concept weighed down by its own crudity. The intention of Anyone Can Whistle is to suggest that the best hope for the world's sanity lies in madness. Towards its goal, it conjures up a town full of decay, a powerful mayoress with a crooked henchman, a miracle having flowing water from a rock, a nurse who believes in scientific and practical, and a stranger who is mistaken for a new doctor who turns out to be a candidate for the community mental institution, or cookie jar, as Mr. Lawrence likes to call it. The performers yell rather than talk and run rather than walk. The insistence on high pressure cannot cover up the sloppiness of the book and the lack of laughter in the lines. It works best when there is dancing. The dancing is the cream of Anyone Can Whistle. In the second act, there's a dreamlike nightmarish ballad full of anger, fluid, diverting designs. In the third, a chase round up to the cookies or the cookie jar takes the form of inventive whirlwind waltzes. It was lambasted. Mixed to negative, as you would call it today on Wikipedia.
It's only good when they're dancing. That's like the
reverse of a Jess
sign.
review.
Yeah, it's not a good sign though, because like a lot of this is sort of plot centric. Like this isn't a show where they just break into dance numbers at all times. So saying it's only good when they're dancing is not a good review for the show.
Andrew, why don't you take a look at the Ben Brantley one from 2010, nearly 30 years after the original run?
Yeah, so this is obviously reviewing a newer version of it.
The version that we watched with Sutton Foster and Raul Esparza, the Encore's production.
Oh, excellent. So this is actually the one we were talking about.
Yes, exactly that.
All right, so Ben Brantley, talking about the same show we watched. It's not as if New York hasn't known its share of power-addicted, egomaniac mayors. I mean, tell me about it. What about right now, huh?
Rudy Giuliani.
What's that?
Guys?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, this is Rudy?
I'm assuming you're talking about Rudy.
Yeah, I'll check.
Who's the mayor right now? I've not heard good
Eric
things about him either.
Adams.
Yeah. Although Rudy, that boy, he's melting. All right.
He's still melting
Back to
to this
Ben
day.
Brantley. But there's something special about Cora Hoover Hooper, the impeccably coiffed basket case who runs the broken down little town in Anyone Can Whistle. Stephen Sondheim and Arthur Lawrence muddled musical from 1964, which is stylishly exploring its own identity crisis at City Center this weekend. Cora has assets that the Bloombergs and Giulianis and coaches of the world have sadly lacked: a Jackie Kennedy-style wardrobe, dancing legs to die for, and, get this, fellas, her own private backup quartet. As embodied by Donna Murphy, her dishonorable honor turns stark, braving political ambition into knock 'em dead floor show, the likes of which City Hall has never seen. Okay, so Ben Brantley is fully on board with the mayor is the main character.
Yes, that's. I mean, it all depends on what famous actor you put in the lead.
Also, the mayor
Whoever's the most famous.
The mayor at the time of New York was Michael Bloomberg.
Oh.
So
He says Bloomberg.
Yeah, he listed a bunch, but the current mayor in 2011 was Michael Bloomberg. So he's implying Michael Bloomberg needs a bunch of backup dancers.
I mean, he's not wrong.
That's true.
He might have gotten reelected.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, well, he did get reelected. He left in 2013.
If you leave, you didn't get reelected.
True.
So I win.
All right. Here we go. The idea that it's the wackos who are sane and vice versa was a cornerstone of 1960s counterculture.
What was that word?
That was vice versa is what he meant to say, but vice versa is funnier.
That's not what I meant to say. I said it the funny way on purpose.
That was a very carte blanche moment.
It's fun to say things that way. That was
fun to say things wrong.
When it's true. That was a decade when "you're crazy" became the highest of compliments. And I suppose that it could be argued that Anyone Can Whistle was ahead of its time in advancing this notion, given that movies with similar themes like King of Hearts and The Graduate would soon become manic. I don't even know what he's trying to say with that word.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think he's trying to say
Favorites of young Americans. You know, he's right. Is this why like boomers love posting stuff like, "My family is so crazy, we're all insane"?
Yeah.
They love that.
You know the photo of the girl with the chips on her head with giving peace signs? The famous one where it's like, "My girl's so crazy, love her." I think about that a lot.
I mean, have you seen? You've seen the stuff I'm talking about, where there's like a picture of a minion, and it's like,
yeah,
I'm so crazy that the people in the white coats keep knocking on the door. And it's just like, okay.
I looked at the picture of this girl with the chips on her head, and
Yeah.
I found a bunch of very targeted T-shirts about your awesome girlfriends that always show up on Facebook ads. So,
I'm not sure what is worse, a wife guy or a girlfriend guy.
that I love my crazy girlfriends, so please stay away from me.
Yeah. God, you know what? I think we gotta split up and talk about the crazies that are supporting us on Patreon. How about we go into that?
I just want to talk about the music, so we
Yeah,
just
can
need
we
to get out of this
I like
segment.
the songs.
I'm trying.
It's song, guys. We're going to the songs now,
Yeah,
okay? Mid show.
We'll go to the songs after we shill.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt you in the middle of the show, but we've got a shill at you and all you crazies out there. Today's show is brought to you by the extremely crazy people over at Patreon. You loonies. Patreon's this place where you can support us, get Patreon meetups, where we're having a few of those once a month, and we're going to get back to them soon. I'm excited. I got to announce one today. Ooh, that's on me. But we also have commentaries. Me and Liz are doing Has Been Hotel at the moment, and I don't like it. I'm not a big fan.
It's growing on me. It's like a mole.
It's bad. I don't like it. I'm not going to defend it. I love trash too, but man, not that kind. And we also have old commentaries. Like me and Andrew did a commentary on Hocus Pocus a few years ago. I don't even remember doing that, but apparently we did. So you go check that out. But our current patrons are Melissa Goldman, Danielle Renix, Jess the Stampede, Ewan Cassidy, Monica Throat, Brent Black, Nathaniel Stacey Coombe, Joseph Evan Greens, Mary Lou Choquette, John Vanals, Russ Walker, Musical Hell, Emily Gracie, Kyle Summers, Jen A.C., Scootin' the Technicolor Dreamcoat, Nothing is Certain Except Beth and Taxes. You guys are all in Group A. Then we've got Thesbian, Mitchell Young, Chai Teacup, Chris Marcotte, Kiji Marie Anastasio, Trevi Joseph, RJ Noriga, Julia McLennan, Bjorn Herman, Toriana Frazier, Sammy the Adequate Amount Jacobson, Kaylee Blazier, Villainous Miss, Sophiana Ali, The Omega Geek, Paige Pearson, Maddie Warkle, and Care Bear Cub. You are an all Group A. Elisa Erdman, Anna Loskatova, Sarah Den Blekier, Evan Ball, Zachary Torres, Rora Morasso, Mara Furloin, Lisa L, Possessed Washing Machine, Nick Roten, Puffy Boy, Sydney Hicks, Anna Beal, Billy Clifton, Gold-Plated Kiki Mora, Julia Balls the Daughter, Emma, Grace, and Kara Balda. They all give us money.
What group are they in?
Yeah, what group are they in?
They are the undecided.
Shouldn't that be Group I?
Yeah.
Because then you'd have Group 1, Group A, and Group I for like the
No.
Roman numeral one.
I'm going to give it Group Dot as if, a dot that starts a list. Let's get back to the show. All right, let's get into this. Me and My Town with Cora Hooper and her boys.
Hi there, Cora. What's new?
The bank went bust and I'm feeling blue.
And who took over the bankruptcy?
Me, boys, me.
CC.
Me, boys, me.
Bankrupt. Tell us, Cora, how you are.
I just got back from the reservoir.
And what's the state of the water supply?
Dry, boys, dry.
My.
Dry, boys, dry. A lady has responsibility. And civic pride.
Civic pride.
When I look around and what do I see? I see no crops.
No crops.
I see no business.
No business.
To the north, to the south, only hoof and mouth.
To the east, to the west, no community chest.
I see a terrible depression all over the town.
Oh, a terrible depression, a terrible depression.
What a terrible depression, and I'm so depressed I can hardly talk on the phone. I feel all alone.
But the lady has responsibilities.
To all my poor, starving, cold, miserable, dirty, dreary, depressing peasants.
I to, when I run on my political campaign, demand in my rider that 4 men must follow me around and be my backup singers forever.
They're my boys.
Yeah, you're
They're
boys.
my boys.
And you fist bump them because you're all straight.
Every day is for the boys.
This song is really cool, really fun, really funny. Like, it's a call and response song, which I don't think Sondheim does very often. It's very different.
I like a lot of the songs in this show.
Mhm.
And I think the concept of the mayor with the boys is absolutely fucking funny as fuck, and I can understand why you would want the mayor to be the main character because of it. I'm down with it. I'm down with the fucking clown here.
I want some boys.
Or a clown.
I want some boys to follow me around and do backup dancing. Like, what's going on in my life?
It sets you up for a different kind of show. Like, I think that it's really, really... I think the songs really work. That's the issue. Like, Me and My Town sets up what she's struggling with, why she's representing it, and what kind of character she is, and I want to see more of her, but also, outside of the song, the rest of the show doesn't live up to that.
But I love this song, and I feel like it pairs incredibly well with the following song as well.
The Miracle song?
The Miracle song, which I also think is a fucking banger.
Yes, absolutely.
Water in the river, water in the deep blue sea. But water in a rock, ooh, that's a miracle. Who's got the miracle? We! There's water that you part, water that you walk on, water that you turn to wine. But water from a rock, Lord, what a miracle!
This is a miracle that's divine. Truly divine.
Divine.
The Lord said,
Let there be water.
the Lord said,
Turn on the font.
the Lord said,
Let there be pilgrims and let them all think whatever they want.
blessed be the child,
Blessed be the tourist.
blessed is his own reward. Water is a good Muslim being over.
Better is your start when rock one is over. Glory, hallelujah, my Maker. And thank you, Lord. Our faith is restored. Thank you, Lord.
Explain, what do you love so much about the Miracle song? Because I like that one too, but it's not the classic from this one.
I feel like Miracle Song is a con man song, you know?
Yeah, I wanted to hear you say it. I wanted to hear you say it.
That sounds so threatening. Oh my god.
The thing with con men songs is, and honestly, I'm gonna be 100% straight with you. First time I watched this, I got towards this part and I was like, oh shit, it's a con man show. I'm so fucking hyped. And it's not this is not a con man show.
It is.
Holy shit, it's
but
not.
they don't stay consistent on who the con man is, because you have this con man song. We're gonna get to the ultimate con man song a little bit later. But it's not. There's no long con. It's just a bunch of little baby cons, and none of them work.
Yeah, it's like you need the long con, and I was like ready for it to be like, oh man, the rock, like how is this? It's gonna like blow up. It's gonna go like nationwide or something. It's gonna be fucking wild. And
Little
they
Shop
just
of Horror
dropped
style.
that plot. They just dropped that plot point.
Yeah.
They're just like, never mind. We don't care about that anymore. We're done. So, you know, but Miracle Song still con man song. Love it.
Yes, but here's where the structure gets confusing, because then we have what is our main character's I Want song, one song away from the end of the act one of this 3-act musical, and There Won't Be Trumpets, which is a fucking banger, a very famous song sung in so many auditions that I've heard so many times before this, that I had already predestined into my own brain of what kind of song would be at what point of the show, and it is not that. It is a good song, and it's very, very showing of this kind of character, but it's for a character that we barely know.
Not with trumpets or lightning flashing or shining armor. He may be daring, he may be dashing, or maybe he's a farmer. I can't wait. What's another day? He has lots of hills to I care. All I know is the minute I turn and he's suddenly there. There won't be trumpets. There are no trumpets. Who needs trumpets?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, we just met her.
We just met her, which is fine if we didn't already have 20, 30 minutes of musical already pass us.
And the crazy thing is that I think personally I subscribe to the idea that Faye is supposed to be the lead.
That would make sense.
I also subscribe to that idea. So,
but like, it's true. She doesn't like. We already have like 2 songs with the mayor by the time we even get here. Before we even have met this character, we already have two introducing songs for the mayor, explaining their motives and then what they're gonna do. So like, who's this? I mean, just popping in.
Like, the intention could be like, this is the villain, this is the evil half of the plot, and this is like the good person who's gonna fix it thing. But why you have 2 sick bangers for the maybe evil lady?
Which it's confusing.
It's confusing.
And only made more confusing when we introduce another brand new character and give him the greatest song ever. And another con man song called Simple.
Well, I'm going to examine them according to the principles of logic.
Logic?
Yes. Grass is green, sky is blue, false is false, and true is true. Who is who? You are you, I me. Simple, 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 simple as ABC. Simple as 1, 2, 3.
Doctor, which on that line is what?
1 is 1, 2 is 2. Who is what and which is who? No one's always what they seem to be. For instance, you, sir, third from the left with the manly good looks. Will you come forward, please, Mr. Hapgood?
I thought your name was Hapgood, Doctor.
Well, calling the patient by my name, he identifies with me immediately. We have an instant transference and thereby save 5 years of psychoanalysis.
Brilliant!
Now then, Mr. Hapgood.
Oh, just call me Happy, sir. Or George.
All right, George.
Thank you, George.
Thank you. Now then, George, when you were a child, a boy, you were a boy.
I was a manly little fellow, sir.
Then I'm sure there was a saying that you learned and have used ever since to govern your life. A motto, a WATCHCRY.
A WATCHCRY. Yes, sir. I am the master of my fate and the captain of my soul.
Good, Hapgood. Now then, married?
Yes, sir.
2 children?
Yes, sir.
2 TV sets?
Yes, sir.
2 martinis?
Yes, sir.
Bank on Friday?
Yes, sir.
Golf on Saturday?
Yes, sir.
Church on Sunday?
Yes, sir.
Do you vote?
Yes, sir. Only for the man who wins. Only for the man who wins. Only for the man who...
All right.
Holy shit, this is like... change. It like wakes you up and makes you sit up straight and be like, what did I just experience with this song?
By this point, we've already dropped the plot line we started with.
Yeah.
We're on something else already. We're 2 songs later. We're done with that. We're done with all that.
No, we've dropped the Miracle Rock plot, and we're on there's a bunch of escaped convicts in the town plot. Not escaped convicts, escaped beatniks in the town plot, and we must figure it out. Like, okay.
This is the part in the show that Sondheim says basically audiences turned on it. His note in finishing the hat was, this last conceit exemplifies what Peter Schaefer meant by our condensation towards the audience. The first act had a glib, smug tone that is someone funny and often clever, but more often irritatingly arch. There's a very thin line between smart and smartass, and we overstepped it. The second and third acts were a better mix of the satire and feeling. So this is the song, and the moment at the end of it where he calls the audience mad, he's like, okay, we're too far up our own asses.
It's a moment. I think I appreciate it as a individual song and as an introduction to this character in a way. It just doesn't really fit into the show quite right. This song is 13 minutes long, by the way. And
every second of it is incredible.
This might be Sondheim's longest song, maybe one of them.
Into the Woods.
The first song of
true.
Into the Woods is the longest?
It has to be. I can't imagine anyone longer.
Let's see what
let's find
Spotify
out.
says about that.
I'm willing to be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that on Spotify.
Prologue Into the Woods is 12 minutes.
Ooh.
Simple is 13 minutes.
Simple as
Which
longest.
version? Okay. All right.
It's the version on
this was the
Spotify is the
Angela
original
Lansbury.
cast recording from the
Okay,
60s.
okay.
This is the longest I've scrolled through a genius.com lyric section, and I've never been happier scrolling through this many words.
It's so many. If you look on the Finishing the Hat, actual book, it is like an entire page of just lines from it. Like, it is actually... Because if you don't own your own copy of Finishing the Hat, you probably should, because this thing... I don't know if this show's gonna come out again, but, this is how it looks. It's just all text on 2 giant sheets of paper.
Amazing.
Jess, do you want to just quickly go over what this song is?
Yeah.
Jess?
Explain what it goes on.
Yeah, I guess I should. We have this incredible character called Hapgood just mosey into the musical. They think he's a doctor, and he just responds doctor back to them as a joke, and then they're like, well, figure it out. And he just starts assigning these people based on mundane questions he asks them, and their equally mundane answers, and wild and baffling answers, into categories, which is what we've referenced throughout, either Group A or Group 1, not really giving a shit whether or not they are actually belonging into a specific group of quote-unquote crazies or not, or cookies or not. And by the end of it, he just kind of set them all up to fight each other, and he knew it, and he was just kind of being a little stinker and having a blast doing so. And he's gaslights everyone into thinking they're crazy, including Cora and all the leaders of this town. Anyone that tries to stop him, he just convinces them they're just as mad. They don't know their own names. They don't know his name. And it is an impressive con, and increasingly impressive how it's written and constructed. Truly.
He fucking Shutter Islands them.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's incredible. And then they start fighting each other in Act 2. My God, it's incredible.
And I know people talk about this song, but I had not heard it, so it was a joy and a gift, and I am grateful that we talked about this show because I got to hear that. The problem is, nothing in Act 2 or 3 comes even close to that moment.
Also, I couldn't even tell when Act 3 started because I was just confused because it just kept going.
Most times when they perform this, they don't break it up into 3 acts because
that makes sense.
Per Sondheim's own statement, he believes this is really the last professional musical that has done 3 separate acts, and it's probably for the best. After that, there's no real songs you really got to talk about aside from the main one, Anyone Can Whistle.
I can dance a tango. I can read Greek. Easy. I can slay a dragon any old week. Easy. What's hard is simple. What's natural comes hard. Maybe you could show me how to let go, lower my guard, learn to be free. Maybe if you whistle for me.
Anyone Can Whistle is fine.
It's
really,
fine, yeah.
For the title song, it's not that impressive or anything. There's nothing that it's pleasing to listen to, I suppose. It doesn't sound bad.
No. I agree. It reminds me a lot of Send in the Clowns when we talked about that, where You have this incredible song in the Miller's Son, which is really intricate and really Sondheim-y and all the things I love about him. And then you follow it up with Send in the Clowns, which is like this boring, droning song. And that, of course, is the one that becomes the hit. It's the same thing here where you have Simple, this song that gets me salivating thinking about how it's constructed. And then we follow it up with Anyone Can Whistle, which is fine and cute. In the Finishing the Hat book.
It's not bad.
No.
Fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with it.
No.
Fine.
Not even. Can you guess what Sondheim for each song in this book, in both books, he goes through every song he's ever written lyrics for and has a little blurb explaining something after it. Sometimes it's like his process, sometimes it's a little anecdote. I am baffled by what he wrote after Anyone Can Whistle.
What did he write?
What did he write? Yeah.
His quote, and this is it, and for the title song of this flop musical, ever since I first performed this song at a benefit concert in 1973, musical theater rhapsodists have appropriated it as my personal statement. As the MC of a recent concert, it introduced it with a dramatic inaccuracy. Anyone Can Whistle is the only song Stephen Sondheim has publicly acknowledged to be autobiographical. He is one of many who fall into the trap of ascribing the character of the art to the character of the artist. Just as some movie fans thought that Cary Grant must have been some unflappably suave as his public persona, or assumed Edward C. Robinson to be a tough, uneducated thug rather than the worldly art collector he actually was. So some musical theater lovers think of Irving Berlin as an artless super-American, Oscar Hammerstein as the good-hearted hayseed. Labels make the labeler feel comfortable and simplify the complications which might blur any images, reducing the personalities to familiar packages which shorten the distance between the dreamer and the dream. To believe that Anyone Can Whistle is my credo is to believe that I'm prototypically repressed intellectual that explains everything about me. Perhaps being tagged with a cliche shouldn't bother me, but it does, and to my chagrin, I realize it means that I care much more about how I'm perceived than I wish I did. I'd like to think this concern hasn't affected my work, but I wouldn't be surprised if it has.
Go off,
wow,
sis.
he's salty.
Hell yeah.
He's salty.
Spill the tea, sis. Go off.
He could have said so many things, like, here's when I first heard this. No, he's like, bitch, this ain't about me. I'm an artist. I wrote for the character. And if you think it's about me, you're being lazy.
I mean, what would they even mean for this song to be about him?
Yeah, what's the angle?
I mean, what the song basically means is I thought I can do a lot of things easy, but the simple things are difficult, which I think is the basic remedy, like the basic credo of the show. Like, I think too much and I work too hard, and like the difficult things come easy. Like, I can learn to tango easy, but I can't whistle. Yeah. Like, something like that. But I don't know. I just find it fascinating that with this title song, he's just really mad that people accredit it to him personally. That is
funny.
such a fucking Sondheim way of going about this, which is just like having to. I wouldn't call him elitist, but he does definitely have a high opinion of his work and his art and himself, which is great. And God bless him.
He got the last laugh too, because everyone who likes this song we'll never know what Sondheim really has to say about it, other than just it's not about me. Yeah. Fuck you.
Yeah, we'll never know.
Now it's time for our favorite point in the show, where Andrew updates his ranking of Sondheim musicals.
Yes.
Yeah,
Andrew.
When I found this was Sondheim, I got excited for that part.
Andrew, we got your tier list at the bottom here. Why don't you remind people your current order and how you rank things?
All right, so the tier list is A through D. It's ranked based on itself, so it's only in comparison to the other shows that are on the list. A is the best, D is the worst. In A tier, we have Sweeney Todd at the top. Then we have the Mama Rose musical and Into the Woods. B tier.
Three great ones.
We have, Follies, Sunday in the Park, Merrily,
Roadshow.
Roadshow. I was like, RS, god damn it.
Your favorite musical of all time. Come on.
I love Roadshow.
No, not the Frogs. I did like Roadshow. West Side Story, The Frogs, and Company. Sorry, these are all abbreviated.
These are weird abbreviations.
So I'm trying to remember what the abbreviations mean. C tier is Assassins, Forum, something on our way to the forum or whatever it's called.
Funny thing happened on the way to the forum.
Pacific Overtures and Passion, which I know are both two of Jess's absolute favorite musicals. So he's mad they're down here.
Is that why they're so low?
Passion is my favorite, like one of my favorites. Pacific Overtures has one of my favorite songs, not one of my favorite musicals. I just wanted to make that clarification.
The only thing in D tier for Sondheim is Evening Primrose, which I think is probably the only thing that will ever be down there.
Maybe you really will hate Do I Hear a Waltz, or maybe you'll really hate Here We Are. People, I know Here We Are is relatively recent, but people have said it is probably. Anyone Can Whistle is probably the closest thing to Here We Are he's ever done.
Okay.
Like, it's very different.
Okay.
I think, I'm very, very mixed on this, because part of me is like, there's actually a solid amount of really good songs in this, which I don't think I would say about like Passion, because I don't remember fucking shit from Passion. I remember the songs I thought they were boring.
He was trying to be Andrew Lloyd Webber, and they're beautiful. You're fucking wrong.
Whatever. This song has like this has way more fun songs. But
yeah, sure.
The story here is like the worst he's ever done. Like the plot and like it's just abysmal. I'm sorry. Like it's indecipherable. Nothing makes any fucking sense. And you could say that that's on purpose, but it doesn't matter. If you make something bad on purpose, it's still bad. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, does this go above Assassins? And I'm like, no. Does this go above Forum? I think it goes above Forum.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it
right.
in C. Does it go above Forum though?
Let's say
has some
Forum
funny
makes
stuff.
sense. Like, that's the thing. I was thinking, like, maybe you'd actually put this in D.
I don't think it belongs in D.
No,
The songs are too good.
It has some really good highs, despite the confusion.
The
songs are
very
legitimately
high.
too good.
Yeah.
If it was bad, like not bad, but like mediocre songs and the plot, it would go in D. But it's not. I'm gonna put it below Forum. I'm gonna put it right after Forum. Anyone Can Whistle.
Right.
Are you gonna
honestly?
Any adjustments?
Pacific Overtures and Passion are just they're down here for a different reason. I just thought they were fucking boring. I'm sorry.
I thought Jimmy, you were gonna say I put them down there to spite Jess.
It's partially that, but not really. It's more that I really did think they were fucking boring.
Because I was so tempted to tell Jess I hated Sunday in the Park with George just to spite him, but then I couldn't.
Sunday in the Park with George is also kind of boring, but like I felt a little bit more.
I found it
felt more
interesting.
Connection to it.
Yeah, I was barely connected to it, but I thought the songs were good, so I'm like, I like it.
Man.
Pacific Overtures and Passion, though, it's just like, oh man, this is Sondheim just trying to put me to sleep. Sondheim's a little lullaby.
Jess showed me his all-time favorite movie, and I was like, it's fine. And he was like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. He was not happy with me that day. He was not.
Is there any changes to your list? Like, are you still okay with the ranking of everything else?
So,
honestly,
I've been looking and thinking about it, but what's your go? Well, you go ahead.
Well, upon reflection, I think Roadshow needs to be a little lower.
I could see Roadshow, like thinking about it more. I don't think I would change where it is, but I think I would put it here.
I would also put the Frogs higher, considering how much you really felt connected to that one.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think I put it this low because I thought people would have like a negative reaction to it, and I didn't want to look like I was just being a contrarian, like, I love this one, and you guys all hate it. So I was like, I'll put it down a little lower. But honestly, it's above Merrily.
Mm-hmm. And the only reason why I did that is because I re-listened to both the Frogs and Roadshow along with Anyone Can Whistle today. And I'm just like, remembering the episodes, I'm like, Man, we were a little too late on Roadshow. Not quite as praiseworthy enough on the frogs. Yeah, that was just the only thought I was having. So
the frogs, if you for some reason have been avoiding the frogs, we said this in the episode a bunch, but I'm gonna say it again because we're doing a Sondheim one. The frogs is fucking rocks. It's really
I'm one
good.
of those people. I'm bad.
The Frogs is so much better than its reputation would have you believe.
Just send me a bootleg.
I will.
What is it? We've seen. I remember looking at lists, and it's like the only show that is on like lower on these like Sondheim best musical lists is Roadshow. They're just like, oh, Roadshow's garbage, and The Frogs is just as bad. And it's like, oh man,
was Raul Esparza in Roadshow?
Yes, he was.
That's why I was a little lighter on it, because I was distracted by Raul Esparza's face, probably.
Well, he's in this
He's very
too.
handsome.
So yeah, here is the order. I mean, this is wrong. From the first linking, they put Passion at last, then Roadshow, then Saturday Night, then The Frogs, and then Anyone Can Whistle.
That feels incorrect.
Yeah.
If you're putting The Frogs this low on your list, you are making the wrong fucking list. All right, let's do our cheese ratings because I think we've talked enough about the tier list.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna go first because I never go first. I like this musical a lot. When it's great, it's it's transcendently great. When it's rough, you can't not feel it. So I am giving this a very specific kind of cheese called whistle candy, sold at Ashe County Cheese in West Jefferson, North Carolina. I win. All right, Liz, you're next.
I wasn't ready. Andrew, go first.
Okay. Yeah. This is it's a very mixed emotions for me. Again, because, and I feel like we just did an episode where I said this, but the highs are really high and the lows are really low. It's like, I have an issue with shows though that are this confusing. If I have to look at your Wikipedia plot synopsis while I watch it for the second time to understand what the fuck is happening, you did something wrong. You can say that I'm not great at following things, and that may be true, but still.
That should just be the end of your sentence. I might be dumb,
but I'm not stupid. Okay. So yeah, the music though makes up for it in a big way. Like, honestly, just listen to the songs. Like, you don't need to see this. Maybe if there's a local production, I guess go see it. But if you're just looking for the experience, just fucking listen to the songs. Like, that's all you need.
It makes me wonder, because currently on Broadway, there is like a sold out, like, money printing production of Merrily Roll Along, Sondheim's other very transcendent flop, just running right now. Do they think,
Merrily's just a better show, though?
Well, do they think, well, if we put celebrities in this, it'll be a Sondheim musical and that'll print money?
Yeah, but they put celebrities in the Encore's production.
Yeah, but
I know
Sondheim
you
is
fucking
alive.
Broadway producers listen to us sometimes, okay? If you're thinking that right now, do The Frogs instead. Do The Frogs instead.
Honest, I haven't seen The Frogs. Listen to Andrew. It's just do The Frogs.
The Percy Jackson fans will come out.
Yeah, they'll look and love it.
Okay. As far as a cheese rating, I'm going to give it Whistle cheese sticks from the Whistle Bake Shop. And they look like fried long cheese sticks. Ooh. I don't think this is like a real thing, but they look pretty good to me. So I was just like, let's just go with it. And I love fried cheese. Who can't?
It's the best.
It's not good for you though, which is maybe that's what we're going for here. The plot's not good for you, but damn the fried music.
The cheese itself, delicious.
the long dance, like. Now that I'm thinking about it, has Sondheim done like a ballet dance scene like that ever since or ever before? Like maybe in the Mama Rose musical, like a tiny
definitely not
bit?
before.
Definitely not before this. No, because this is like his second major.
Yeah. Like, okay, we could have had many more dream ballets if this had been a success.
Dear
So
Lord.
thank your lucky stars it wasn't.
Yeah,
'cause
thank
Dream
God.
Ballet's
Dream Ballet
fucking
suck.
Not always the best.
Liz, your cheese rating.
All right. This was fine. I think I agree with both. I agree with both of my fellow co-hosts here. Like it's low, but the songs are so good. Just listen to it on Spotify. You don't even have to like find a weird YouTube copy. It's literally on Spotify. It's the 60s one with Angela Lansbury. I'm sure it sounds fucking great. Just listen to that. And for my cheese rating, I'm gonna give it an old school cheese ball because it's a big old mixed bag and it's a little old.
That's how I describe myself too on my Tinder profile. Mixed bag, a little old. Speaking of mixed bags and a little old, thank you for listening, and please follow us on iTunes and Spotify at Musicals with Cheese. Let us know what your cheese rating is, because that's the question on our Spotify today. Answer it. What do you think? We are on Twitter at Cheesy Musicals, Patreon Musicals with Cheese, Instagram Musicals with Cheese, YouTube page Musicals with Cheese. We're on Patreon at Patreon with Cheese. Email us at musicaltheaterliz@gmail.com. Our keeper of the cheese is Juliet Antonio. You're in Group A, Juliet. There's some ASMR for you. Our themes were created by Robyn, Nash of IOU Music UK. Thank you to the Broadway Podcast Network for having us on the platform and for not kicking us off, for being ableist against the cookies out there, the cookies out of the cookie jar. You know who you are. All right, anything else we have left to say?
We're almost out of Sondheims.
Yeah, we're running out.
We got 2 more. That's really 3. That's a lie. We got 3 more.
Some of them might have to go on the wheel.
Yeah, some of them might have to be on the wheel.
No, I think I'm going to mix 2 together because, you see, Saturday night, I don't think we're going to have much to say about. And here we are, we don't have a bootleg of. So I'm just going to squish them together and we'll do one half for Act 1 and other half for Act 2. Yeah, but maybe Here We Are will be wonderful. I hope at least it'll inspire a good discussion. And that's all I'm asking for. We'll see you next time on Musicals with Cheese. There won't be trumpets or bolts of fire to say he's coming. No Roman candles, no angels choir, no sound of distant drumming.